Murder Jones Episode 7 just released, and I'm going to break it down all for you in a hopefully quick video. Now, if this wasn't obvious before, this video does include spoilers, so if you don't want this beautiful episode and product of indie animation spoiled for you, I consider you clicking off and watching it yourself. Anyway, now that everyone who wasn't at the premiere is gone, let's get into it. First scene we are shown is a sort of exorcist kind of ritual with Nori, Uzi's mom. Here we are introduced to a new character called Dr. Chambers. Dr. Chambers accidentally put on the wrong suit and is actually an intern, so poor guy. The exorcist kind of ritual doesn't go as planned, and everyone dies except for Dr. Chambers, who is left to be taken out by Nori, or the Absolute Solver. Scene ends with a crucifix with a USB port on the end of it flying into his face, cutting away to a sort of heart thing we saw in episode 2 of Murder Drones. It compares a crucifix without a USB port with the one on screen and throws it away, realizing that it's not the same, and goes off into the distance with a pickaxe and hard hat. It then cuts to the elevator crashing into the ground, where we see a mineshaft looking hallway, and Uzi and Tessa all come flying out of the elevator car, and desperately tears away all the stones that have covered up the elevator car. However, it is in vain, and he realizes that he almost crushed Uzi with these rocks. Tessa is clearly not having any of it and wants to get the job done, which is to kill Uzi for quote-unquote safety measures. Uzi then thinks that N is going to hurt her, in which she collapses part of the hallway, separating herself from N and Tessa. N is pinned down by a rock, with Tessa conveniently missing. Uzi goes off to investigate by herself. She eventually finds the setup of the Absolute Solver mechanical heart thing we saw at the beginning. We then get a scene with Thad and Lizzie on the surface, and I was very surprised that we actually get to see these two, especially since they weren't exactly included in the past 2 episodes. As they're walking towards the gigantic corpse spire of worker drones, the planet's gravity seems to glitch out, sending them into the sky briefly before crashing back down into the ground. We then get to see Jay in her spaceship that she arrived on with Tessa, seemingly going into the spire of worker drone corpses for no reason. The next scene shows N trying to free himself from the rocks while slowly being approached by a sort of ghost V in a way. We get to see a flash into N and the other murder drones past, as we get to see what massacre happened on Earth. And I can't say too much in fear that my video gets taken down, but boy, that was serious. He then gets dragged away off into the distance. If you're enjoying the video so far and want to see content like this, consider subscribing, because I'll definitely be posting more on episode 7 of Murder Drones, so subscribing can help you stay posted. Now please keep in mind that the scenes I am analyzing aren't exactly happening in chronological order. Some scenes are spliced together with others. I'm just making it more organized for a YouTube video. N is saved from being dragged away permanently by the mechanical heart thing we saw at the beginning of the episode and is saved. It is then revealed that the mechanical heart thing is Nori, Uzi's mom. We then get a quick scene of Lizzie and Thad back on the surface trying to attack Jay. They fail miserably and she leaves. We then get to see Uzi's dad trying to reconstruct her railgun thing, and let's just say that they definitely gave him more personality. I mean, I didn't even know his name was Tom. I don't even know if that was a new piece of information. Like, what? Wow. And I only know this because it was explicitly said in that very episode.
You could get this across to the surface. I'm looking for a hunk named Khan.
Uzi's dad?
Definitely got more character in this episode. We then get to see Tessa going through the robot's lockers, finding Nori's locker empty. She finds the list of drones and deletes it by, exploding it. She then runs into Doll, and a very interesting thing happens. Doll freaking died. I guess my theory on that was wrong. Anyway, before Doll meets her untimely death, she talks about some sort of patch for the Absolute Solver. She says that she doesn't want to be used to destroy the planet, and Tessa, and I quote, says,
"Not sure it needs you, buddy."
Yeah, that's not menacing at all. We are then jump scared by some mysterious figure, and we cut to a different scene. Then cuts back to that flashback we got at the beginning of the episode, completing it. Nori, or I should say the Absolute Solver, throws the crucifix at the turn, and it is stopped by Yeva behind him. Yeva then throws the crucifix back at Nori, sticking the USB end into her face, seemingly getting rid of the Absolute Solver. The planet explodes, Nori and Yeva seemingly lose part of their memories, and the rest is history. And by the rest of history, I mean that Yeva dies and Nori dies, but then, regrows or something into that heart thing, and then realizes that Sin is somehow back and goes down into Cabin Fever Labs to try to fix it. But that is just me, making an educated guess. cut back to Nori explaining everything to En and making him promise to not tell Uzi that she's still alive. Uzi has a run-in with Tessa after figuring out all the horrible things has done. Doll's dead body lays behind Uzi, making it look like she killed Doll, with Doll's head visor saying "fight back" in Russian. Tessa then attacks Uzi, pinning her down and almost killing her, with En stopping her, giving her one last chance before decapitating her, and then tries to reassure Uzi, who then switches to the Absolute Solver. Next, there is a fight scene with En and Nori on one side and Sin, or the Absolute Solver, on the other. However, the fight plays into Sin's, or the Absolute Solver's, favor, and it ends up with En pinned to the ground, with Nori almost being eaten. However, En stops this by writing in oil that they just hang out. Nori then picks up that En and Uzi have a thing for each other and slaps Uzi so hard she is slammed into the ground. Absolute Solver / Sin loses control of Uzi's body, and Uzi is now back to herself. Uzi impulsively kicks her mom down the flesh pole that is in this cathedral-like hall, with En freaking out because she literally just punted her mom into a hole. En and Uzi reconcile, embracing each other in a warm hug. However, not everything is over. Tessa's body slowly reforms itself, revealing that it wasn't actually Tessa all along. I know, big shocker. I don't know exactly what Tessa is right now, so maybe I'll make a video on that in the future, so hey, subscribe, maybe you'll stay posted. We cut to a scene of Jay landing at the very top of the entrance into Cabin Fever Labs, and then getting run over by a bus. Very, quote-unquote, effective drone work.
Effective drones were cloned more.
The keys to the ship fall down the hole, which somehow make it to Uzi and En. Uzi, realizing that this is her chance to save En, throws En back to the surface, or I should say the floor of the cathedral, while giving him the keys and sacrificing herself by falling into the hole. The next scene we see is of Uzi in space, seeing a black hole right next to Copper 9, I assume. And that's pretty much it. And I didn't go into very detailed looks since I only watched this episode twice, and analyzing a 25-minute video is a bit out of my standard. However, if I find anything new, I'll make sure to include it in my theory videos. I will definitely be making either about episode 8 or about the current stuff we already know. I am glad to say that some of the theories I made a while back were actually sort of correct, just that they happened in episode 7 instead of episode 8. I will be posting a episode 7 of Murder Drones review soon, so make sure you stay posted on that. Stay tuned, and I'll see you next time.